The suspected D.C. shooter, Ramanullah Zakinwal, was part of a zero unit in Afghanistan, elite militias backed by the CIA. So let's take a closer look about what we know about these groups. First, these zero units that were recruited by the CIA that are operating for specific elite counterterrorism units and missions come in this southern Afghanistan area, Kandahar being some of the fiercest fighting, Helmand province, Uruzgan. This is where Zakinwal is not only born and raised, but this is where he was stationed. His unit was out of the Kandahar region. Now, let's talk about Zakinwal's vetting process. He did get some vetting. We had biometric screening, CIA did, biographic checks on interagency watch lists. The CIA looked to see if he had connections to any terrorist groups, and he had in-person interviews. So there was some vetting, but let's talk about his actual unit. He was assigned to NDS 03. That's a National Directorate of Security, which is Afghanistan's CIA, if you will, intelligence service. He was working for that when he was recruited and trained by the CIA to fight against the Taliban. But these units were operating outside the chain of command of U.S. and Afghan forces. That's significant. That suggests he may have seen some significant fighting in missions because these zero units are known for their brutality. Some called them death squads. Let's bring in now Lara Burns, head of terrorism research program on extremism at George Washington University and former FBI supervisory special agent. Lara, we're learning a lot more about Zakinwal and the fact that he's part of this zero unit, but yet we're also looking into how he makes it across the country to carry out this ambush. What are your thoughts this morning?
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. I appreciate it. Yes, this Mr. Zakinwal's pathway from Washington to D.C., it raises some interesting questions, right? Questions like, was Mr. Zakinwal already radicalized before he migrated to the United States? Did he come here with the intent to commit an act of terrorism when he found the opportunity? Or rather, did he migrate here with good intentions and for some reason become disaffected with society or fail to assimilate and then self-radicalize and then decide to mobilize with a target of opportunity? I think that as the investigation proceeds, FBI Director Kash Patel has said that they are looking at this as an act of terrorism, that facts will become available and help us determine exactly what his radicalization process was.
You know, Lara, FBI Director Kash Patel talked a little bit about Zakinwal's relationship with Afghanistan partner forces. Listen here.
There is confirmation now that the subject had a relationship in Afghanistan with partner forces. This individual is in this country for one reason and one reason alone, because of the disastrous withdrawal from the Biden administration and the failure to vet anyway, in any way, shape, or form, this individual and countless others, and this administration has taken the rightful step to stop any further allowance of people with this similar background into the country.
So, Lara, clearly Zakinwal ends up here because of his partnership with our U.S. forces, with the CIA, and it appears he did have vetting, as I just pointed out, but yet there are still links, weak links in this vetting process. Explain your sort of view of that.
Yes, I mean, the overall vetting process, if we're talking about the broader vetting process, it didn't just involve Mr. Zakinwal, because it does appear that he had some sort of vetting, was extremely complicated and chaotic. And, it really began with what I see as the intelligence community's failure to predict how quickly Kabul would fall. And because of that failure to understand what was going to ensue, there was a lack of preparation for what that evacuation process of our allies would actually look like and entail, and the challenges that they would face. And there were many challenges. We had hundreds of thousands of Afghan nationals who assisted our forces in various capacities and risked their lives. But the ability to vet individuals in that chaotic environment was extremely difficult because of the naming conventions that were in Afghanistan. Some individuals used first name only. There were lacks of date of birth. There were lacks of identification documents. And so when you're talking about thousands of people fleeing violence and flooding onto planes, we weren't prepared to vet them.
It's a great point. It's a great point, Laura. I just want to, get to this quickly, and that is now President Trump is calling for a re-scrutiny of the vetting of those who came here. It's possible Lockenwall came here with good intentions and became radicalized here in the past 4 years. So can we accomplish the process of re-vetting a lot of these individuals that were brought here? Will that work?
I think it's necessary. It's necessary for the protection of our national security, because at the end of the day, especially in those first months, when we had thousands of people migrating here, the U.S. government was not prepared to properly vet. The vetting was minimal. And I think it is necessary, because although a number of individuals migrated here who sacrificed their lives for our government, there were individuals who were not properly vetted that likely have nefarious intent here.
Yep.
And I think a re-scrutinizing of the vetting process is necessary.
We'll see where it goes. Lara Burns, thank you for taking time this morning.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.